Brandin Cooks. No one ever seems to want to keep the guy. He's been traded for a fourth time from the Houston. So first off, Brandin Cooks, when he was extended by the Texans in 2021, he said he would never be traded again. And then he spent all of 2022 demanding a trade. And
look, life comes at you fast, all right?
Yeah.
He came at Brandin Cooks quite fast. He has been traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a 5th and 6th round pick. Humongous upgrade in terms of the talent around him and like the 53-man roster. But Kyle, I'll start with you. Is it really an upgrade for Brandin Cooks, like from a fantasy perspective? Where now he's competing with an alpha and CeeDee Lamb for targets. Michael Gallup should be a lot stronger in his second year coming off his torn ACL. Like, what is kind of the initial fantasy outlook for my initial read on Brandin Cooks is that he's going to be a wide receiver 3. You like want someone else to draft, which is how I viewed him last year. So nothing has really changed for me with Brandin Cooks. What about you?
I think he could be a wide receiver 3. I'm fine drafting. I'm probably not going to get over my skis on like a 30-some-year-old player changing teams coming off of a not great year for his standards, which are pretty high. Like, that's just not my archetype. As a Zoomer, we're looking for these 22-year-olds. But last year, I mean, even as a down year last year, it was like the 3rd worst yards per route run of his career. It was his worst target share in Houston. Even then, it wasn't terrible. He still out-targeted Nico Collins when they were on the field together. He was the wide receiver 33 in target share, 39th in yards per route run. So in a down year for his standards, he was a fine 3rd receiver for a team to have. And part of that is that he was playing on a terrible team. It is hard to post efficient route run numbers if your quarterback is not good. So I think it's probably an upgrade for him compared to last year. Do I think it is an upgrade for him compared to having probably Bryce Young on his team? Maybe you'd rather be the massive target getter for a Bryce Young-led offense than the number 2/3 target for Dallas, but simply looking at it versus last year, it's definitely an upgrade. And I think he'll look better than he did last year as well. Last year was a down year for him, but there are reasons for that to be the case. I mean, one sole reason is that he did not want to play there. It was so incredibly obvious. Well before he
was tanking on the season.
Yeah. At the end of the year, like as soon as he played his last game, I think he had like a post on his Twitter, like thanking Texans Nation. Like, you're still on this team right now, right? Like, so I think.
And he was ready. He was on in the locker room, like.
No, that was a scheduled tweet, Lawrence.
Soon, right. Soon as they beat the Bears,
it's sent out in overtime. He's lucky it didn't. So he'll be better. I think on his own personal efficiency level, he will be better. He'll be better than that. I think he won't earn as many targets, but that's kind of to be expected. And he's on a significantly better offense. I am worried that the Cowboys just want to run it 40 times a game. So I don't know. We'll see how good the Cowboys offense is. It's better than the Texans were last year. And it's better than that by miles, like no matter what philosophy they ultimately go with, even if they really lean on this Brian Schottenheimer thing. So I think it is an upgrade. He isn't really the archetype of player I'm dying to get on my roster, but I don't mind drafting Cowboys. They have one of the league's more efficient quarterbacks. They have the league's most efficient running back, a good offensive line. So yeah, I'll be fine with him as like a low end wide receiver 3. I'm not going to get a ton of him, but like he's not done, I don't think. So it's fine.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting point. The Houston media and his teammates were both emphasizing how much he has left in the tank. Like kind of hinting at that. Yeah, he could have given a lot more last year. Lawrence, what do you think?
Yeah, no doubt about it. He, I'm sure if the Houston Texans was a better football team, he could have got healthier just a little bit quicker. And speaking of him and how many times he done been traded, you said 4, right? I speaking of tweets, I made a tweet about Brandin Cooks 2 years ago when he got traded to the Texans. And I asked the question, is there a better player in NFL history who done been traded as many times as he's had? Because it's not like he getting traded and he just getting dumped off, right? He's getting traded and he's like at minimum the wide receiver 2 on a team. In some cases, Saints and Patriots, he's the number 1 wide receiver.
He fetched a first round pick at least 2 of those trades.
Yes, 2 of those times he fetched the first round pick. So, now he's on Dallas. And like you guys just said, no, he's not washed, but it's a situation where you give a little, take a little. Like, You give them to the better team, a better situation, but you also taking away some of them targets that you concede to CD Lamb and Tony Pollard. And like you said, Michael Gallup, he'll be a little stronger this year. So all of that doesn't mean he's washed. It just means exactly what you said. He's a wide receiver 3 in fantasy. Even if the Dallas Cowboys were some type of pass heavy attack, how high could we really truly put this guy? Like mid wide receiver 2. That's if they were a pass heavy team. But as it stands right now, cool. If he's there, you probably, I don't know, me personally, I'd rather have like Donovan Peoples-Jones than Brandin Cooks. Yeah. If they roster stay like how it is. But he's a wide receiver 3 on, hanging off the cliff right there. So it's cool. He'll have those weeks. He'll have some weeks where you miss starting him, like Gabe Davis.
So I have bad news. If not to play semantics, but has there ever been a receiver traded as many times as Brandin Cooks, as good as Brandin Cooks? He tied Eric Dickerson as the most traded player in NFL history at 4 times. So technically there is one more. If we're playing,
you definitely got me there.
Respond to this in the comments. Yeah. In the comments,
I'm glad you brought up Eric Dickerson, because one of those teams he got traded to was the Falcons.
Yeah, Dickerson, a number of famous trades. And also, man, there's no way 4 trades can be the record. That means your league doesn't trade enough. There have been dudes in baseball have been traded like 8 or 9 times.
That's a good point.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.